Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Ryan Friend with Dust2us, and I am here with Mike, DarfMike Winnick. You've casted almost like 7 hours today. You've done a number of the BO3s. Fragadelphia has been a great event so far. What number frag is this for you? This is like 8, 9, 16?
So this is Frag 16, right? I first showed up to Frag 10. That's where I got my start. It was literally I just walked in the door and said, hey, I want to cast, and they let me cast, and I wasn't that shit, so they kept letting me cast. And I think I've been to most Frags. I missed one. I missed Frag 14 because I was going to a global challenge at the time and couldn't attend, but otherwise I think I've been to every Frag since. So math is hard, but I think that's 5 Frags.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, so it is actually kind of impressive that the frags back in the day, they were so much more like organic, community driven. A lot of the casters, that is where they got their first starts. Scrawny was one of them. Scrawny also casted a bit of frag. Do you think that casting at frag has kind of jettisoned you into what you do now?
I mean, yeah. If I didn't show up to Fragadelphia, I never would have started casting. I was literally between 2 jobs. Like, I had a job starting, and I had a couple weeks off before that started, and I saw a Reddit post about Frag and showed up, and I'd always thought, I'd been watching CS for a little while, I'd always thought, hey, maybe casting would be cool and fun, but how do you get started? I had no clue, no idea, no knowledge of the esports ecosystem really beyond, like, top-end events, which obviously, you can't walk into Cologne and start casting. So I saw the Reddit post, showed up, did it. I would have never gotten started otherwise. The people I met there, people like Scrawny, people like Mark, Bach, Wilson, the man, the myth, the legend, people like Dallas at Topical really helped give me some really key advice. A guy, Holden, who doesn't really do the esports thing anymore, but used to be the broadcast lead for ESEA, gave critical advice. Producers here, Steve, Ed, Rob, a lot of people contributed early on. So, without these events, without this kind of thing, I never would have started. And without the connections that I made here, the feedback that I got, the ability to refine my craft, I never would be at the level that I'm at now.
No, it's really been impressive to see how much you've grown and done it all. We've been friends for a number of years, so it's always been nice to kind of see you grow up and get to this big time.
Got to bring it back to himself. He's got to bring it back to himself. Yeah, no, it's been a few years. I've been full-time with this for 3 years, which to the surprise of many, including myself, somehow I'm still afloat. Really thought that first year the pandemic was going to sink me. It was a bad time for a lot of people. It was a bad time for me. But 2021 was a great year for me. Obviously, doing things like doing the DreamHacks online, doing IEM Fall was huge towards the end of the year. Doing Katowice remote earlier in the year obviously was huge. Things like Cologne. Getting just more involved in the ecosystem, having a ton more opportunities, and then taking that momentum into this year has been really exciting. Katowice being there for the event. I wasn't there for 1 week of the event. Being part of that legendary talent crew, being part of that 20-person talent crew was incredible. Working the desk with some of those names, some of those faces, people I've admired for a long time. Getting a chance to meet people in person after for some of them, like Harry and Hugo, I've been working with for years. Never met them. Now I finally met them. Finally, get a sense of who they are as people. It's just such a pleasure. It's such a delight. It's so cool to be part of this. Part of events like Challenger, get the chance to travel the world and do what I love.
Yeah, no, it's been great to see how that. You've obviously had a banner year. You continue, and your stock continues to rise up and up and up. Come on, no, it's impressive. It's impressive. You started out doing a lot of the Premier stuff. You've done the MDL stuff. We're hearing shouting in the background. A lot of frag trash talk going on as we're trying to do this. You really grinded out a lot of those league matches and events. I think those we had the open IP days of advanced and stuff like that, so kind of anyone could do it, but you were working with the ESEA, you had the chances there, and now that's kind of gone away. It's a lot more. You don't have those open IPs. Really,
the RMR is happening right now. A lot of people are doing those as open IP games. That's a huge opportunity. But you had, at least for things like DreamHack and ESL, you had issues where people were covering the games who maybe weren't necessarily representing the brand in the way that they would have been hoping to. So companies got a little bit more conservative about just doling those out. Started their partner programs. Blast does a lot of the co-streaming stuff. ESL does their partner program. So you still have a lot of opportunities. For the most part, for the ESL partner program, the baseline is like, don't be a horrible human being and be able to put together a stream, and they'll pretty much let people cover those games.
Well, what if I'm like 12 years old? Can I then put together a Valorant stream? Is that fun? I'm
not going to comment on that one. Not throwing anyone under the bus. That was fun to watch from the sidelines, but
No, I agree, and I think with Europe we have seen actually a lot more of the open RMR streams. It's been kind of nice to see up and coming casters, see more people trying to get their get their nose wet into it. The NA RMR is coming up next week, and I'm trying to look at a bunch of new casters that are coming into it. We have a few, like I think one or two. Fi is casting a little bit, Exner's been casting, but I don't necessarily know who's the next coming one up. It just doesn't feel like there are a ton of opportunities available there. Do you see differently?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think Fragadelphia is an opportunity. You said it yourself. Fi and Exner are two guys who've been grinding. Things like the Cash Cups, where again, open IP matches, Cash Cups, those are matches that people want to watch. There's stuff every week. Now the women's tournaments are coming up as well. The GG for All Impact tournaments are coming through. That's another opportunity for coverage. There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of CS games that people want to watch. And if it's going to be listed on any sort of format, on HLTV or any of that, you can get viewership on. But really, if you're just getting started, viewership doesn't matter. If you want to just pull down a VOD and mute the casters and cast over that, like, you need practice. That's what you need most of all. Then the viewership starts to come once you have a product that you're actually happy to put forward. So, no, I think there's lots of opportunities. And I think things like Fragadelphia and local tournaments are really the way to do it. I'll pause. Just go through. Go through. Run. We'll cut it out. Don't even have to limbo.
Cut it out in post.
But yeah, no, I think tournaments like this are really a great way to do it. I mean, having guys like Fi and Exner here is cool. They've been working. They've been part of the scene. They've been trying to, display themselves and improve their craft, and I think they've done a great job of it over the course of the last year. I think they've improved massively, and I think them being here and being able to showcase that is part of it. So I'd tab them absolutely as up and coming NA casters.
No, I think that's good. I'm glad that you can at least see that. I think it's important that we continue to have new blood into the scene and new people being able to come in or at least have those opportunities and those growth paths. I think we need that for kind of every place, especially even with competitive NA. We need those opportunities, the organizations that are in to help support the ways of the path to pro, like all that kind of stuff. In terms of the casting, what do you think is some of the hardest stuff that people, when they're trying to really get into it, here's a better way to rephrase this, as I had the question in my own head and I haven't said it yet. What failures have you had that you wish you could have done differently?
What failures have I had that I wish I could have done differently? I think that one of the things that's hard to figure out is the business side of things, especially early on. Like, I'm still not great at the business side of things. Let's be real. That is not my favorite aspect, negotiating over rates or figuring out what I should do or what I should or shouldn't take. Definitely not where I thrive. And I think that that's true for a lot of people in casting, just because it tends to be a bit more of a creative field. And some people have a nose for that kind of thing, and some people don't. It just happens. We got Peanut here, ready to take photos. But as far as big pitfalls, I think there's a few things that are important to keep in mind. It's important to keep perspective. It's important not to... The thing is, working in broadcast, it is important to have some degree of an ego. Because if you don't think you can do the work, then you have no business getting on a camera and trying it, right? Like, there has to be some piece of you that believes that you can do the work to a top level, that you can do the work that you can, at some point, whether you are right now or you can be in the future, be the best at what you do or strive to be the best at what you do. But it's also important to have that perspective and be, first of all, reasonable to work with. That's the number one thing. Be nice to work with. I think I've done a pretty good job of this. I hope I have. If I haven't, please, if I've offended you, reach out. But, not being a dick to production, not being a dick to talent managers. God, I'm in a position where I have talent managers I interact with now. Be nice to your coworkers. If you're doing your job right, you should be trying to make everyone around you look as good as possible. That's one of the key important things. If production looks good, if you look good, if your co-caster looks good, if any hosts, that kind of thing, that's what you should be striving to do. I know when I'm here, I throw production under a bus a little bit, but that's just because we have fun with it, and they like to throw me under the bus. It's all in good fun and in good faith. Ideally, you're helping make everyone look good, and you're a pleasure to work with. And that's, I think, one of the most important things that some people miss, especially when you start to get a little bit of attention. Sometimes maybe the head swells a little bit, and it's important to keep things in perspective and recognize that we're all talking into microphones about video games, and we're all super lucky to be here. It's fantastic.
I know, I'm doing this now as a full-time thing of where I'm, talking into a mic and being a journalist. Who's letting me do all this fun stuff? I know. Well, Mike, thank you so much. All right, well, I'm Ryan Friend with Dust2us. Make sure to follow the Dust2us website for the live blog, the event coverage, these videos, these interviews, the everything, the Twitter, all of it. It's perfect.
Is that backwards? Is that backwards? Or Dust 2? Is that backwards? It's backwards? Hold on. Here we go. There we go. Dust 2. Hell yeah.
Love it.